Okay, hello everybody. Welcome back to Bigfoot Camp.
Woo! Yay!
I know, it's been way too long, so here we are back together again in our favorite spot in Greenwater where all the amazing things always happen. So we set up camp on Monday, and a few people arrived yesterday. Today is Wednesday. Sandy's the most recent to arrive today. So we've had a few things that have happened since we got here. We're going to share that with you. The one thing that I would like to share first would be that after we had everything set up on Monday, I went and I picked up Goldie and brought her up here. And when I let her out of the car, she was instantly very nervous. She was just very skittish. She was sniffing the breeze. She was looking up into this area where we have a lot of activity in years past. She was continuously wanting to go and sniff into that area. Tracy, you were here that night, and you were sitting on that side of the fire, and you were reacting to something. Why don't you tell us about that?
Well, I don't know that I was so much reacting to it as it was there were noises in the background that I kept hearing there, particularly a clicking noise. I can't even tell. In fact, I was thinking about it this morning because I kept hearing it again last night. It almost sounds like two little tiny polished rocks that keep clicking together. I can't even describe the noise, but it's like but with almost a little wetter, maybe, for lack of better description. But and sometimes it would be over here, sometimes it would be over here, and sometimes it would follow. I don't know if it would follow me or if there's just another one that's over there. Could be a bird, but 10 o'clock at night.
After dark, yeah.
10 o'clock at night.
And Goldie was reacting to it because you'd say, "Are you hearing that?" And we weren't hearing it, but she was hearing it. Her head would pop up, and she was looking in the same direction that you were.
Right.
When you were saying that.
I didn't see anything. There were no lights. I didn't see any shadows. And there was a significant number of stick breaks going on. And the same thing last night. A lot of clicking and stick breaks.
Yep.
You know, we were camped over right down that little path over here when we had the click episode that went on for like 2.5 hours of that conversation with Click. So if you hear Click again, just start asking him questions, possibly. He was more comfortable with men than he is women. So just for curiosity's sake, I mean, it could be two rocks, but since it was traveling, somebody was moving the rocks, or somebody was making a clicking sound as they were moving, because rocks don't travel, right? So just start asking him yes or no questions. Kind of think about it. And we established a communication with him. So it's worth a try. He likes to communicate with men. He's familiar with that. So why not try it? It might be Click coming to see what's new in camp.
Well, we'll see tonight.
Were you guys drumming at all?
No, we haven't done any drumming.
Haven't done
yet,
that.
no.
Okay.
One thing that we are doing, and I don't know if the camera would be picking it up right now. I can kind of hear it. Patrick is doing some experiments in the woods across the road over there.
Explain all that?
Yeah, go ahead and tell us what you're doing.
So I got here Sunday night. This is the only full day I can be here, but I'm going to be here every night. And so I have a rather large Bluetooth portable, lithium battery, and I've been running Schumann frequencies back at my camp. I'm quite deep back there under the canopy. And I went there because it gets very dark with canopy at night, so it's almost a blackout camp. I have a little stove, so I don't have to have any light. So I am running a frequency during the day. Then I run a 432 frequency at night, a little quieter with a smaller speaker. I also have a gravity chair with a little Bigfoot plushie my son gave me for Christmas to see if somebody has that. So that's off to one side, and then down the trail I have a table set up with figurines, and there's three scenarios. One is a bunch of, I make bases for these figurines so they won't tip over, so they look like chess piece type thing with big base so that mice and stuff don't knock it over. One's got a Bigfoot in the center with a whole bunch of wildlife around the circle. The center one's got a Bigfoot action figure somebody gave me for Christmas, also with has his hands on a bear and a deer with a cougar sneaking up behind them. I was trying to create scenarios that they could interact with. The other one is a friend of mine gave me these wooden, they're really gorillas, but there's like 2 of them have baby girls in the back, there's 5 of them, so it's like this little family. So you can kind of very obviously tell it's Papa, Mama with the kids, and then there's adolescents. So I set it up like dad's in front, mom's in the center, and then the 3 adolescents are around it. And when I left yesterday, I take before and after pictures. When I left yesterday to go into town, and then when I got back at about 8:30, Mama had been removed from the center and put to the side on her side.
Oh.
So we don't know what that means, but that was quite interesting because it wasn't, it's one of those things, if an animal got up there, it would have, even a bird coming down would have knocked everything. But no, she was lifted out of the center, and these are about a half pound each. So I mean, they're good size.
They're beefy.
They're pretty beefy wooden things that you're not going to knock over. So somebody removed Mama. The other thing, at night I'm running glow lights, violet and red, because those are the frequencies. Hasn't worked too much right now because it's so dark in there. They just look like floating lights and they're not emanating enough light to really do much. But I count how many I put out. So when I gather them up, I know if there's any missing. And I'm missing one from last night I can't find.
Oh,
What
nice.
Red.
Red.
I had 10, I got like big packs of these things. But the first night I did it was Monday night, and I put purple out. I only put 10 out, and that wasn't really, it was just like these floating purple lights. It was so dark. It gets so dark in there with the canopy, it's just it's just a black hole back there. So I went up to 20, and even that, the red ones, it didn't really emanate enough light. But again, I counted them, partially because I want to make sure I clean up my mess, but there's supposed to be 20 of them, and I can only find 19.
Wow.
So that's, maybe I just can't find it, but I'll continue to look for it to see if it's true.
Well, let us know if you find it, and you might
The
just
other
find it
thing
in another spot.
that I noticed, and everybody will back up, is when we broke camp at about midnight last night, because everybody got tired, because some of you guys are old.
Okay. Cut that out.
So we all went back to our tents that we're all separated in the area. And about the same time that everybody hit the sacks, the owls started talking to each other. And they were loud.
And clear.
And clear. And everybody heard them. It was like that owl that was like deeper into the fortress area from Wyatt. And he was really loud, and he was close. And he was talking, and there's several other people that said that the owls were talking to each other. And I found it really curious. Maybe we just disturbed the owls. I don't know. But it was interesting that when everybody went to bed, it was almost like hey, they're going to bed.
A signal.
Maybe the owls were telling everybody that we're going to bed, or maybe it was,
Wow.
I didn't hear any while we were here around the fire.
Nothing.
But
it was like
2
when we got
seconds
back.
into the trees, it
As
started.
soon as you started
walked
going
away.
back.
As soon as we got back.
It started.
Wow, that's really cool.
And I actually told the forest, going to bed now, hoo. I'm like, okay. That's a pretty big owl. It's not that far away.
I heard it back here,
Yeah.
and then I heard it across the road, and then I heard it up where I assume you're.
And they were loud.
Yes, very loud.
Very cool.
Wow.
That's
Awesome.
interesting. You heard this one first, and then you heard this one, and then you heard that one.
Yeah, I
That was the
assumed
opposite for me. I heard this one, and then I heard this one, and then I heard this one.
Really?
Really? Wow.
I
Wow.
assumed they were talking to each other, how owls might talk to each other.
But just the timing of it, and I've had that happen to me at other camps too. It's like once everybody starts to bed down, it's like, why would natural bird owls care when we went to bed? I've had that happen before when everybody starts to.
Well, we've had it at the cabin when we arrived down there to unload the camp gear. Suddenly there'll be an owl across the road from the cabin that just starts going off. And that's happened more than once.
Yep.
Yeah, it's kind of like saying goodbye.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, to back up just a little bit to your figurines. So you left yesterday afternoon, and you took a picture of them when you left, just before you left, right? Okay. So after you left, Ashley was here, and she had written a little song, and we made a little music video
Right.
out just right out here in the road, and everybody was there, and the music was going, and the guys were dancing, and it was quite entertaining. So while we were doing that, Goldie kind of took off back behind the bus over there, and David, you went and were looking after her.
Yeah, I think it was going to be part of the conversation, so I kind of squished back.
Sorry.
That's okay. You have that way, Barb. So, yeah, so she went back. There's a fire ring that in the very back past beyond the bus, and she was heading towards that and trying to eat plastic and stuff. So I was going back there together, and you don't know, but it felt like there was something in the bushes. I felt like I was being watched. And then all of a sudden there was movement in the bushes running back away from that area. No, I didn't see anything. We do have a lot of elk here. We have a lot of deer here. So it could have been some animal. It was something of size because it made a lot of noise going through the brush. But I did hear that. And then I just grabbed, took the plastic out of her mouth and escorted her back over here.
Okay.
But I didn't think anything of it at the time. And I had told Barb, and I said, well, why don't we wait till tomorrow, then see if there's any other activity over there, and then can add it to that. I didn't know we were going to have that issue with his figurine. So
yeah,
this interesting timing.
Yeah, it might have been the same individual or sibling or something that was looking at them. Now, somebody else told me that they heard boys talking.
Last night before we went to bed, it was probably an hour before we went to bed, we're sitting here and I go over to my car, and it's dark, but I go over to my car on the side that's closest to the trees over there, and it sounded like it was past Patrick's camp. His is the farthest away. It sounded like it was past, but it sounded like a couple of kids were whooping and having a good time. Not dissimilar to that you just heard.
Well, that was probably a raven.
That was raven.
Yeah.
Well, but this is after dark and whatever, but it was very high pitched. But there were two of them, because when the first one went to whoop, there was a second one that whooped across it. But anyway, I just thought it was interesting that it would happen when I go away from camp. Yeah.
Kind of like the owl.
Have you guys
thing.
noticed how loud the crows and ravens have been with those chirps? I mean, I've been coming here for years and years and years and years. And
I did see a really big one go over this morning, and he cast a huge shadow on the ground. That's what made me look up.
Yeah.
And he was just going through the trees here, and
some of the
he had a
birds seem to be
heck of a call.
more active in this area than I've experienced in the past.
He's got another.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So there's more?
Well, I don't know. We're sitting around the fire here, and my car started. This is after everybody's going to bed. That was mine.
Yeah, it only honked twice and it stopped.
Yeah.
And I didn't even have to pull the things out to make it stop. It just went off. But
All by itself?
all by
Lights
itself.
flashing and
Imagine that. Nothing like that has ever happened over there before. Ever. Okay, so there was something that happened just like an hour or so ago?
yeah.
Okay, why don't you tell us about that?
I was alone here in camp, watching the camp where everyone else went hiking, and I was putting my chair out, so I had my back to my vehicle over there, and I heard something hit my vehicle. I don't know what it was, but so I was facing this way, and so I turned around to look, and about that time a little stick, not big, came twirling through the air, making a whooshing sound, and landed not far from me.
So it came from the pickup through the air and landed behind
that
the
little-
chair.
Yeah,
Can you give us an example of a stick, or just hold your fingers up and show us?
it was biggest would be that. It had a slight bend to it, so I would say at least that big.
Do you have?
Wow.
Did you find the stick?
No, because there's so many over
Yeah,
there.
there's a bunch
that-
of them over there.
Yeah,
Oh,
feel
very
here.
cool.
I wouldn't even have noticed it or thought anything about it if the whooshing. I hope I explained it well enough.
I think you did
You
great.
did, because your
fine.
truck is, I mean, look where your truck is. It's open sky over your truck.
Yeah.
The nearest trees are those beyond the other side.
Yeah.
So for it to fall off and whoosh circular across this camp and land over there, it was thrown.
I know.
Does anybody
so
else have the
cool.
$6 million man sound effects in their mind right now?
Oh, shoot.
So that actually somebody did bring with all the guys here. That is worth bringing up because it is a dynamic that we haven't had here before. This is the first time I've ever been here where there's more men than women.
That is
And we
true.
have Kevin coming.
We got them coming
Yep.
down.
Well, we have Nancy coming,
Yeah, we
and Maynell and
Nancy's
Vic.
coming.
Yes,
Yeah.
we'll be
So
even then.
we'll be even. Because every
that matters.
camp out we've ever had, the men have
Yeah,
been
that's a good point, though.
severely outnumbered.
It's just those little,
yeah.
just little details like that.
And
I mean,
would
it could
happen
be
if she was
something.
here
You never
by
know.
herself.
Well,
Yeah.
we had that discussion. I'm sorry.
I'm
You
sorry.
did?
I was just saying, when that happened with Terry, she was here by herself. All the men were gone. Everybody was gone except one female was here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had gone on a hike. Because we had that discussion about how every major primate study out there has been led by women. And the orangutan, I can't think of the name, the guy in Fosse, Jane
Yeah.
Goodall, the one that's doing Ape Island right now, that did the Lucy thing. It's like you'd be hard pressed to find a great ape study that's not been led by, successfully led by women. So that was always a dynamic with this group coming out here. It was very much dominated numbers-wise by ladies. So that's it.
But again, it's a very interesting observation because, and I go back to Click, you're clicking, he was not comfortable around women. And he actually said that. He had communicated
He
with
or
a
she?
man.
Do we know if it was a he or she?
He said he was a boy.
Oh, okay.
He said he was a boy, and he had talked to another man in this area, and he was only comfortable in talking with
Right,
Kevin.
That's right.
And now you hear clicking. We have more testosterone in this camp than we've ever had. And I mean, who knows?
And the mama,
It's just
and the
another
mama-
observation.
And the mama gorilla was taken
Was
out
taken
of the,
out and turned over.
That's
And,
an
you know, and
interesting
to bring
point.
that up, because we know those of us who, I don't know, spend too much time looking at habituation YouTube
all of us.
stuff, is that like it seems like overwhelmingly are women in like homesteads from what's her name in Tennessee to what's her name Green to it's overwhelmingly women who are having interactions in like
Don't like
habituations, living sites.
Tracy's the only one that heard the clicks.
I've
And-
been hearing them right
Now
now.
over
even.
here, even though his camp is not too far away from where Click
You heard it
was.
just now?
I've heard it probably
No,
10
last night
times
too,
since
yeah.
we've been talking here.
Are you kidding?
And nobody else can hear that?
But you can you tell the camera that your hearing is a little impaired?
Gold.
Absolutely. I have hearing aids.
Yeah, he's got his hearing
I
aids
have
in,
hearing
which might be.
and I do
New
hear
hearing aids.
I do hear other conversations,
Has
meaning
anybody
that
else
somebody
been
will say
hearing
something
clicks?
and I hear it totally wrong. But this is like constant.
Has
It's
anybody
only
else
when
been
you're
hearing
here.
clicks while we're here?
No.
Not
I
Keep telling me,
I don't hear
did you hear that?
Okay,
I'm
this
like,
is
no.
getting woo.
Yeah,
This is getting
I know.
woo.
Well, with the strange part of it is though, even though the rest of us, he'd go, "Did you hear that?" And we're like, "No." And then you look at Goldie, and her head
Yeah.
is popping up and looking in the same place that he's hearing it. So she is hearing it too.
Except for right now.
Well, last night.
Yeah, except
when
for
we were
right now,
sitting
she's
there-
unconscious.
You heard clicks too last
Yeah,
night?
Last night.
You did.
Yeah, and I was hearing what he was hearing, like movement in the back and these clicking sounds, and then Barb was
Several
hearing
times.
movement
It
over
was, like,
here, and I heard that too.
incredibly
so-
loud.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, anybody else have anything they'd like to bring up? Any comments? No.
Thought I heard some stuff moving around last night, but I can't tell you what it was. I didn't hear like most people do, when you hear the Bigfoot. But I could hear when I woke up about 400 times last night, moving around over in the woods and around my bus, and that's usually, you're in the tin tent, so you don't hear you don't usually can hear things, but I could hear stuff moving around there, and then I kind of got buzzed. Lower quadrant there, kind of just laying there in bed, and all of a sudden the lower half just kind of like went buzz, and then I accidentally kicked the window. Thank God I didn't break it. But,
So it was like a reaction to the buzzing, like an
maybe.
electrical reaction, like a
Kinda.
reflex, or
Yeah.
Well-
Well, and that could just be a natural bodily thingamajig. I don't know. but
Okay.
I haven't really had that happen. I mean, I've had muscle torque on me because I am kind of twerky, but just bottom half of me just go buzz for about 1/10 of a second, and then my leg go poof.
I wouldn't go that
Huh?
far.
I don't know. Could be
Interesting, though, considering everything else that goes on here.
Oh, I'm excited.
Well, I'm glad you finally got here.
Me too. Me
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, now the real fun can begin.
Woohoo!
Oh, boy.
That's right. Party central right here. You and me, Goldie. Come on.
Oh, she's
sis.
up. Yep, she's ready to have fun.
My baby.
Okay, anybody else got anything? Nope. We're all done? Okay, well, we'll be back tomorrow with another report on the things that are going to happen from this point on. And we're expecting some awesome stuff. So
Cool.
have fun, everybody. Bye.
Excited. Woohoo!